Good evening all, this is Glenn here. And tonight we're going to talk about troubleshooting in terms of network connectivity. Various network connectivity problems may occur because the software that you have, the physical hardware, or the external problems may exist with your system. So really a solid understanding of networking and different networking tools is helpful for troubleshooting network problems. And one of those tools we have available is called the command prompt. Okay, it's one of those things that we can find specifically what could be the troubleshooting issue as far as connectivity. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the Start menu. We're going to type in CMD, the letter CMD. That's your MS-DOS prompt, or the command prompt as we call it. And we're going to type in ipconfig, CONFIG, \all. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Hit enter. Just follow along with me. Now what you're going to do is now since we have the wireless adapter enabled and we have the LAN connections disabled, we're going to look up the wireless LAN adapter network connection and look at the status of that. As you can see right here, we have the description of the device, which is a wireless 1387 LAN mini card. We got the physical address of this particular computer. Now the physical address of a computer is unique to the computer itself. It's kind of like the address on your house. There's only one house that has that address on that street. So just kind of understand what a physical address is. DHCP enabled, and DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. You want to make sure it says yes here. You want to move down here to IPv4, which is version 4 address. You want to make sure that you have a 192 address, 192, 193, 194, and so on. And then you'll have another 3-digit number here, then a 1-digit number, then a 3-digit number here. If this has 169 address, you don't have connectivity. You don't have connectivity. We'll talk about that in another tutorial, but I want to make sure that you have at least a 192 address. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Just understand that you need to have those numbers there with this 192 address or 193 address. Lease obtained, which is today. That's essentially when the IP address was obtained. And by the way, a DHCP address is an IP address is obtained dynamically from your internet service provider. You need to understand that. All right. There's two types of IP addresses. There's a static IP and there's a dynamic IP. Static IPs you have to put in manually. I'm not going to get into that right now. It gets a little more complicated when you start having to manage a multiple amount of IP addresses, and you have to input them in statically. But in this case, when you obtain an IP address, when you boot up your computer, it's obtained from your internet service provider, and it automatically gets stored in your computer. All right. Another thing, default gateway. That is just the address of the DHCP server, where you're getting that's the address of that particular device, or the gateway address of your particular site, wherever you're at. All right. Now, so assuming all that's okay, you're going to go ahead and bring up your browser. I'm going to use Firefox here, and there you go. Now, let's say, for an example, you can't connect, and you're thinking, okay, well, let's go back to the command prompt. What you want to do here is you want to go ahead and let's say you type in ipconfig all. Config. Let's make sure I type here. Okay, it's been a long day here, and hit enter. And let's say for your LAN adapter, your wireless adapter. Let's go ahead and go back to the wireless LAN adapter, and let's say your IP address is 00000. Okay, if that is the case, it essentially means that you're not hitting the DHCP server and your lease has expired. So what you want to do then is you want to go to ipconfig, go back up here. Let's go ahead ipconfig all. But instead, what you want to do, let's go back over here. Let's go to the CMD ipconfig release. So let's go ahead and just release that. Let's go ahead and look at our Ethernet our wireless adapter. Okay. Default gateway. Okay. We went ahead and we released all that stuff. So it's going to. That just tells us that the IP address we have right now we're not going to use. Okay, for whatever reason. And now what we're going to do is we're going to type in ipconfig renew and hit enter. Okay, so it's going to do a new configuration here, and we're going to go up to our wireless adapter, and there you go. So we're back to where we were. We still got the same IP address. We still got the same subnet mask and the same default gateway. That IP address was essentially obtained from a server. So what it does is when you go to ipconfig release, it gets rid of any IP address you have. It talks to the DHCP server to say, okay, you don't want that one. So then what you do is you go renew. It tells the DHCP server, hey, I want a new IP address for my machine. And that DHCP server will send it to your particular device. Okay, enough said there. So, and if that's the case and you're able to get a new IP address, you should still be able to connect. So let's go to a website here, cnn.com, and we're going to bring it up, and there it is. So there you go. All right, that's about all I got for now. I just wanted to talk about network connectivity and some of the basic steps. Again, make sure that your LAN cables are connected. Make sure your modem is up and running. Again, one of the first steps, and I didn't mention this, if you can't connect to the internet, what you want to do first is reboot your computer. I didn't mention that in the beginning, but the first step really is to do a reboot. Once you do a reboot, 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to connect to the internet, and you'll be able to connect to any website that you wish to go to. All right, that's all I got for now. Again, happy computing, and look forward to talking to you again.